Hello and welcome to the Moxstars Podcast. We're officially recording as of right now.
Oh, it's a hard, saw it.
Chris?
We got that on mic, right?
We do have
Okay,
it.
good.
It's recorded.
Can we get 27 hours of it?
Saw it. Well, saw it.
Just fall asleep to that.
Oh, well, saw it. I saw it. Dead. I saw it.
And it's 27 hours live, not looped.
Oh, yeah.
By the way.
I mean, he could do it.
I saw
I
it.
do want to see what like hour 26 looks like. Like just pure madness.
Saw it.
Okay.
I saw it.
What's up?
Hello and welcome to the Moxstars Podcast, the number one podcast on the internet for Magic the Gathering and Dr. Pepper. We are the three greatest personalities in Magic the Gathering. I'm Evan Kunai, and I'm here with Jordan Garcia.
Hello. One of the three greatest personalities in Magic the Gathering.
You fucking know it! And we got Christopher
I
Ritter.
love it.
Saw, dude.
What's up, it?
It's nice.
Nice.
Excellent callback to when we weren't recording.
Oh, we didn't get any
Nope.
of that? Okay.
None of that.
Cool.
All right, so you guys are
just kidding.
here.
Yeah, it's in the B-roll for sure.
Okay.
You know that this is the best podcast on the internet, the number one podcast on the internet for Magic the Gathering and Dr. Pepper. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so by subscribing to us on YouTube, and hitting that thumbs up, subscribing, and hitting that bell for more notifications. New episodes every single Friday. You can also support us on all major podcasting platforms by leaving us a 5-star review. It goes a long way to helping new people find the show. And join the Discord, because we've been popping off on there about all these new Doctor Who cards. It's actually kind of crazy. Some of the things we're like finding, some of these new powerful effects we're seeing, and people are talking all about it on the Discord. So get on there, join the community, become a Pepperhead. You can become an official Pepperhead by joining our Patreon, by becoming a supporter. The Pepperhead tier is $3, and you get access to 2 exclusive channels. You get the Dr. Pepper channel, which explains all of the lore, deep history and lore of the Moxstars X Dr. Pepper thing.
It's pretty much just memes.
Yeah, Dr. Pepper memes. And all the entire product roster is on there.
True.
Profess your love of Dr. Pepper there. And we also have an exclusive channel called the Shower Thoughts channel, where we listen to our community, and that helps drive our content. So we're very community driven in that sense. So yeah, get on there,
Share
have
your
some
thoughts.
conversations, share your thoughts, and we're going to talk about them.
100%. All right. Thank you for the excellent intro, Evan. We also need to plug the other thing that is available on our Patreon for a limited time till the end of this month is, correct?
Yes, till the end of this month, we are offering a pre-order.
Pre-order for our playmats. We have the sickest playmats by our homie Death Milk Designs. Like literally, we've had them in our hands for probably almost a week at this point, and I'm still in awe. They've been sitting on this table
Yeah, they're sick.
in my home, and I cannot stop staring at them.
I played my first spell table game the other night and used the new mat, and it just looks so good.
Dude, I saw the picture. It's just like 3 bad mats, and then your mat is just like, ah.
Not even bad mats.
I know,
like
because the other one
decent
was
mats.
the OG Moxstars.
I was going to say, one was a Moxstars.
No,
It's not like good.
and 2 of the other ones were pretty decent, like official
It's just
Wizards
like,
mats.
Evan said
Yeah.
it, and I have to agree. It's just like every other mat pales in comparison to this mat. Every other one.
We might be a little biased. There are no Dr. Pepper cans on the mat.
Not yet. If we get
soon.
sponsored, we'll get a little DP logo up.
Yep.
So we will be having a store where you can buy all of our merch after the fact, but for the time being, you can get a nice little pre-order of $35. That is including shipping to the local 48.
And just a shout out, that only includes the pre-order for the mat. So if you'd like to have access to the Shower Thoughts channel and the Dr. Pepper channel, be sure to pre-order the mat and then go ahead and change your subscription, or add an additional subscription to the Pepperhead tier.
Yeah, essentially, it's $35 pre-order, and it'll close at the end of the month, and then we'll have other ways to pay for it down the line with some other merch.
Yep.
Sweet. Okay, a few little small tidbits. I just wanted to touch on some upcoming events this week. We are, I guess, in the next few weeks, we have Fall Brawl coming up for the CDH Laughing Dragon homies down in Issaquah.
That's going to be tomorrow, right?
Oh, when this comes out, holy shit, that is tomorrow. You'll be able to catch me and Evan crushing it, just absolutely clapping cheeks.
I'm going to do my monster truck intro. Saturday.
What decks are you guys playing?
Excellent question, Evan.
I'm playing Shaline Halar again to reprise my top 16 placement.
Yes, sir. Gotta rip the Naya.
Yep.
I am selling out and playing 5-color good stuff. I'm playing Nagila.
Nagila. Have not heard of it.
It's not a very good.
Not familiar.
Yeah, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I did have a game the other day where I did nothing but just play Nagila and then activate Nagila.
Yeah, I was in that game.
Yeah.
And it feels bad to be on the other side of it. Like, you weren't legitimately, you had no board state except
I did
for Nagila.
nothing.
You weren't even activating Nagila, like,
No, I did
with
nothing.
the 5-color ability. And you were just, as you've been saying, clapping cheeks. I feel like someone said clapping cheeks around you recently, and you're just repeating it a lot now.
That does sound like something I would do.
Because it has come up so much today.
Well, this is the first I'm hearing of it and being shown light on my own actions, but we'll power through.
Hey, it turns out when you can exponentially spawn warriors, seems good.
It is
Yeah.
pretty freaking good. If I had found any other actual win condition in my deck, the game would have gotten better. But
You did win that game, though, right?
No, I didn't win that game.
I won that game.
I killed you.
Oh, you
I
did.
I did successfully kill you.
As
but-
far as I'm aware.
yeah, you checked out immediately afterwards.
Yeah, you guys will be able,
Canonically.
everyone, you'll be able to see that game on our YouTube channel. We did get that one on camera.
Oh, yeah,
we'll
baby.
be editing and putting it out soon.
Not only
Actually,
can
I do want to say, after I died, I was taking care of our social media. I
Oh,
was doing
yeah.
social media stuff for Moxstars.
Yo, shout out. If you've noticed that our social media has been way better, it's because Chris took over. And I will say that gameplay we're about to drop has all of our new mats on it, and holy Christ, they look good.
Yeah, they look really
They
great.
look goddamn good. Okay.
Yeah, I
Go ahead.
legit think you guys are going to want to play on these maps.
Dude, like, once you see it in person, like, the color is just crazy. There's no mat that has this level of saturation and color. It's absolutely bananas.
You know, I think that when we ordered these from Inked Gaming, we got them, or like we got them later than we expected. Like we didn't get them in time for MagicCon, and part of it I think is because they were holding on to them and just looking at them, and they were just like, "Wow,
Like, I can't
Yeah.
let this go. They're
these
like the
are
one ring."
Yep, yeah, exactly. Like they saw them, they're just like, "Holy crap, wow." Yep, we just don't print mats like these every day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, honestly, they
Yep.
pop.
Okay, enough about the mats. You guys can go pre-order them at $35 freaking bucks. Okay, the other thing, the week after this coming weekend, and when you hear this, it'll be tomorrow. The next weekend will be Command Fest Portland. Tons of shit's gonna be going.
Yeah, there's a, for getting there, there's a Spooky Tower Command Tower promo. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Ooh.
yep, and it's hosted and organized by Laughing Dragon.
Oh,
Yes.
Yep.
Laughing Dragon. They have a tournament tomorrow that you guys are in.
Oh,
100%.
Oh yeah,
That,
we're gonna be there.
you guys are going to place and win?
Potentially win.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll be winning it.
Not even close.
Evan is hot on it. Jordan, you're like, oh, I'm going meta. I'm playing Nagila. And you're not even like thinking you're going to win.
We'll shoot for top 16. We'll shoot for top 16.
Okay.
I've got a few new pieces in the deck that I'm excited to see work out. So we'll see if it makes the deck a little bit more flexible than it used to be. So
Yeah. Command Fest Portland also has some very sick promos associated with the Vintage and Legacy
Yeah,
tournaments.
exactly.
yes.
Correct me if
Yeah.
I'm wrong, but there's also a Proxeed CDH tournament.
Well, with the announcement of Command Fest, there were also announcements for Vintage and Legacy tournaments that are happening across the world. There's only 3 events, and they have like these crazy promos.
Okay, so they're not in Portland.
Right, they're not going to be
okay.
in Portland.
Just the
next
same
week, no.
weekend, and yeah.
Yeah. So,
But there is going to be a CDH tournament at Command Fest.
yes.
That is the first time, or not maybe not the first time, but this is a new occurrence where we're actually getting full proxy-friendly CDH tournaments at these larger organized events.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's actually on the schedule. I think it might just be a side event that Laughing Dragon is hosting, along not official Wizards of the Coast scheduled. But I could be
imagine
wrong
it
on
would
that.
Holy
Is
shit.
Wizards in the official Commander tournament game at all? No.
No, not at all.
Not on any
not at
level.
all.
They're
No.
printing products for Commander, but they're not on the official level.
No, it's such a casual thing
Yeah.
that they are not really associated.
Yeah, and they seem to have no interest in it.
I do have a live update, live news coming to you all right now. Kyle just texted me, and when we're in Vegas, we got TARDIS promo cards.
Yeah.
Right? When we took a picture in front of the TARDIS, he sent me the TCG link. They're selling for $55 right now.
Wow.
Shit.
I wish I'd taken a picture in that little TARDIS thing.
Yeah, I wish I had done that.
Holy God, what the hell? Okay, sorry for the distraction. Moving on. Evan mentioned that we have an awesome shower thoughts tier in our Patreon and on our Discord. We get to chat with all the homies. And that's where we also pull a lot of our community-driven content from. And so I have a little shower thought for y'all today. We were discussing, and by we, Tortith, shout out to one of our patrons. He had brought up that there's not a lot of interaction for creatures, let alone free interaction for dealing with creatures, right? Like the Force of cycle.
Yeah.
And Chris had brought up that like kind of the best option is Force of Despair, which is a card that doesn't really get much love whatsoever.
It can. I thought about actually it can stop Nagila on
totally.
a turn.
There's a lot of things where it can pull off a lot of cool effects, and I do love the card a ton. But there's some limitations to it, and where this is kind of where more of the discussion and the shower thought came from is that it doesn't stop ETBs. It has no way of interacting with that, and so 99% of the time, you've already gotten the value from the creature. The killing the body doesn't necessarily solve your situation. And so the shower thought is, why are ETBs so good?
Why are ETBs so good?
Why are ETBs
Was that the question that he posed?
so good?
I think
Well, this is the conversation
This is a
that
secondary
came from it,
conversation. Okay.
Yeah.
from that conversation.
Nice. All right.
Yeah. Wow. You really put us on the spot here. ETBs, I never really put it into I never contextually put it into into this frame.
Do you want to take the lead and you can hop in?
Yeah, I would love to.
Well,
I would love for you
I'm
to
going to
take
say
the
Get in here, Chris. Obviously better improvising on
We're
your feet.
diving in. I'm dipping my toes in the water.
there
You
are
guys
actually
jumping in.
dog shit if you play Hushbringer.
Ooh, disgusting.
I play Rushbringer because I
Elish North Mother of Machines.
This is why you guys never think about
I play
ETBs.
both of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. This is. Are you hearing this? This is how fucking rough my meta.
Well, that's how good. This
is what I
ETBs
deal
are.
with all the time.
Oh, yeah. I guess from your perspective, you're usually at a table with at least 2 stacks.
Oh, I mean, Kyle is the other player, so it's
And he
three.
also plays stacks.
It's 3 stacks
Yeah.
players. Unless we're playing with Guy, in which case, thank God I have another turbo player. Okay, anyway, I'll take the lead on this. So let's use, for example, the Force of Despair. It can kill creatures, which is great, stops Nagila, but you're not stopping any of the dockside effects, the Thoracle effects, the just massive, pervasive cards in our format that just, frankly, win the game. Pretty much the only card that exists right now that has been an answer to combat this, other than the cards you just named, but like more on the stack kind of interaction, would be Dress Down, which is why I think Dress Down is a hugely underappreciated card because it is in such a niche category. It really does not. Very few cards hit that capacity.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's because CDH is a meta where like Dockside is a must answer card. Like no one's just docksiding for value, really. Like they're down bad if they're docksiding for value. If someone's casting Dockside, they're about to go off into a loop, probably, right? And you need a way to stop that, and that's a must answer card.
Same thing with Thoracle.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I think docksiding for value still leads to something. Even it's like even just having it on the battlefield, it's done its thing. If it sits for 2 or 3 turns, the odds that your opponent is able to find something, or having it on the field is just detrimental in general because you can find like a phantasmal image, like an opponent can literally just tutor for a phantasmal image to then go off and do that. So ETBs. I mean, when the number one, if we're to rank the best cards in CDH, I think our consensus, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but we'd probably say Dockside is the best card in CDH.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're deck building or thinking about like, hey, I'm going to build a deck, you have to think long and hard about whether or not to include red, and that comes down specifically to just Dockside. Like being able to loop Dockside, and those pieces are often in other colors, like Food Chain is in green, or you want to pair it with blue, or Eldritch Evolution, which is also in green. It just controls so many deck making decisions. Like the gravity that it has, like you kind of do have to be like, unless you're gonna cheap out and be like Mana Crypt is the best or Soul Ring is the best. I think you got to say Dockside.
Yep, it's one of those things where now when I'm considering what deck I'm building or what deck I'm playing, I found that for my playstyle particularly, that the strength of ETBs needs to have an answer just in general, because like you said, not only on the flip side of that, like you have Dockside, on the other side there's Thassa's Oracle, which just wins the game. A lot of the time it doesn't like it hasn't been the most prolific way to end games, I would say, in the last like 3 to 6 months. I've seen a lot of other ways people have chosen like to win games.
I still win a lot of games.
It still wins a lot of games.
win most
it's
of my
just so
games.
clean, but I think people I've heard a lot of stories about Fairy Mastermind, just make them draw the card.
There are more things
Yeah.
that are out there where
Or I play Baleful Master.
100%.
Do the same thing.
People like there are good cards that you're justified to play them that happen to also punish.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Gaia Reach Sanitarium is a card that I play just for the off chance that someone Thoracles, and then I can just make them draw a card on the stack. So, like there, you have to put in the precautions into your deck to either be able to answer that. So if you're playing blue, you have to be able to answer it on the stack or interact with the Tainted Pact or whatever. But the fact that it is an ETB effect, and the only things that really stop that, cards that have been phased out, cut out of decks because they just aren't good enough.
Talking stifle effects.
Stifle.
Yeah.
Like the dress down has been the best thing we've seen in a long time.
Huge boon to help with that, because I totally agree. It is kind of an unchecked thing. Like ETBs are a little unchecked right now because nobody is playing stifle effects.
Yeah, and then you look at your stacks pieces, and that can help out in these particular situations. I play Stony Silence to combat Dockside if I can't get a Hushbringer down.
Yeah.
Like Hushbringer stops all enter the battlefield and all creature dying effects.
The amount of times a Hushbringer or a Elishnorn just comes up, like it affects every game they're in.
Torpor Orb. You can
Torpor
be on
Orb,
that
yeah.
in any
Yeah.
color identity.
Yeah, but then you're actually just like pulling you're taking a slot out of your deck, like where Hushbringer can contribute to certain strategies like number of creatures,
Tymna Attacker.
Tymna Attacker, stuff like that.
I mean, on some level in CDH, slots are reserved for stacks pieces, no matter what. Like,
Wrist extend.
kind of in green, you're going to make that space for Collector, Oof, and Null Rod even doesn't fit your overall strategy.
Right. Yeah, and that's like what the line you walk when you play a stacks deck is like, does this contribute? Hopefully, yes, it does contribute to your overall game plan, but you also just have to be able to battle the most popular strategies in the format, which just so happen to include ETB effects. And that, like Jordan said, they created Elishnorn as well, which is another version of Hushbringer that is asymmetrical, but it's at such a great cost. Like when you're using Eldritch Evolution to go into something like that, I just... like there are a few other options that probably would push your game plan forward, where this one just sort of like creates a value piece, or, it's a value and a stacks piece together.
Is there a card similar to like Infinite Obliteration where it affects all 4 players instead of just one? So 1 colorless, 2 black. Infinite Obliteration is look at target's opponent's hand, graveyard, and library, choose a card, exile all versions of that card.
Sort of like the end from Wild
Yeah.
of Eldraine.
Yeah.
Or Legacies.
Yeah, the end.
Lost Legacy. Or
The
whatever.
end, I think, is actually a great answer if you name Dockside or Thassa's Oracle, and you could hit everyone.
Yeah, that is kind of that's unique design space, because it'd probably have to be printed in.
It would be in a
commander
product. Yeah.
We'll see what Doctor Who yields. If that's something that
some
should
interesting
be seen.
stuff. The spoilers were dropping today and yesterday. I don't know if you guys are paying attention to that so much.
Oh yeah, everybody's
few
chatting about
cool
it in the
things.
Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool new cards in there.
Interesting cards, and I'm not interested in that IP at all. I know a lot of people are very passionate about it, but I'm getting a little drawn in.
Yeah.
It seems cool.
There's one.
Yeah, we should do a little episode about it.
I kind of I was thinking about building in Teamer, and Me the Immortal seems fun.
I was just going to bring that up. I think
Yeah.
I'm going to build that. We could all build it in our own different ways.
Yeah.
Me the
Try it.
Immortal. What is it? Let's run through.
So
You've already
it's
derailed us
Maisie
enough,
Williams.
So let's go
it's
down.
Maisie
this hole.
Williams, and so it's Teamer plus 1 colorless or 2 colorless.
Yeah.
And so at the beginning of your upkeep or at the beginning of combat, you get your choice of like Vigilance +1/+1 and 2 or 3 other types of counters.
Yeah.
And those counters are evergreen unless Me the Immortal goes back in your deck. When it goes between zones, those
Skullbriar.
counters, like Skullbriar, the counters stick to it. And there's a second part to it.
I can't remember what the
But
last
there's
part
a
is.
second part to it. But the counters seem interesting enough to play around with.
Okay, new counters commander and teamer.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, honestly. And when I saw it, it's just like, oh, well, cool. We have another. Hopefully, when they reprint this deck, they give us a reskinned Bog Bonder with a hexproof counter. But looks like a really cool commander. Yeah, I think it's 2 in teamer, so 5 mana total.
Yeah. Fun stuff. And then all the various doctors are fun. And then you can look at, they're never going to print restrictionless partners again, right? They admit, Gavin said that was a mistake.
Yeah.
Right.
But you have now Time Lord and Doctor's Companion partners that I think are enabled in every single color pair. I haven't actually looked through that, but I would imagine you would be able to do whatever type of color pairing you want
Cool.
with it, and it's just a new set of partner commanders to play with.
Yeah, the final effect is actually kind of relevant.
Me the Immortal. We're back to Me the Immortal.
Yep. You can cast me from your graveyard by discarding 2 cards in addition to paying its other costs. It's a 3/3.
Yeah, so you can cheat the
Human rogue.
commander tax if you need to. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, where were we at again?
I don't know. We were so derailed from my episode.
We
Let's
were
get back to it.
talking about Doctor Who spoilers that came up for the reason that
like,
we were talking about interesting design space.
Potentially,
Look at that,
a
look at
new
that.
All
card.
of those things not on this document in front of me.
Potentially a new card that could help answer ETB effects. is
Tour
where we
you
got
inspired all of this. This is all your rambling.
This is your
Yeah.
fault.
Yeah.
Also, thank you for being a patron.
Yes, thank you so much. And I think that ETBs just in general are just going to keep getting stronger and stronger. And part of the question that prompted this conversation was, is there design space to create spells that have the ability to just counter creatures or to counter those effects, right?
Well, that's what I was just going to say, because I think the reason that ETBs have been getting more prevalence because Wizards was looking at that counterspell space, which often draws a distinction between, is this a creature counterspell or is this a non-creature counterspell? And they wanted a way to print certain spells that were not going to run into counterspells in higher power formats, and want to open up, because it is sort of solved if you're running counterspells in your deck. What counterspells are playable in CDH, right?
Right.
I think
Not a lot of creature counters.
Yeah, I think this is Wizards pushing that design space to be like, hey,
A more protected.
think about some other counterspells, or some of these new counterspells we're coming out with, like play those, and then like you're saying, protect certain types of spells, and being like, hey, I think when they printed Dockside, those fuckers knew what they were doing. They weren't being,
They're like, let's put a little gas on this fire.
Exactly.
It is designed to scale with power. Like, regardless, like if they did think about that, they did such a great job with it, because it's like, hey, you want to play at the highest power level, or you want to cheat a bunch of mana super early? Well, Dockside is gonna punish you for it. So,
Yeah.
Ultimately, the point that I made was, with those free creature counter spells, is that they've created this environment in Magic where EDH is the most popular format. And what do you build a deck around? A single entity, a single creature. So I was just saying, like, there's a little bit of like, maybe they talk about this behind the scenes, maybe they don't, but like, if someone inadvertently uses that free creature counterspell on someone's commander spitefully, it leads to a lot of feel bads. In the right hands, in competitive play, if you play it right, it's a great card.
And also, they are very careful not to put these ETBs onto legendary creatures. If Dockside was legendary, that would be fucked.
Well,
like,
yeah, and I think they learned their lesson with Omnath. 4-color Omnath entering the battlefield, drawing a card. That had just ripple effects throughout multiple formats. So lately we've seen certain effects that are like, when it enters the battlefield, you can only trigger this once per turn, or like when something enters the battlefield. Like Calyx is a great example of that, when it enters, and then also when another enchantment enters. And it requires a little bit more work to get the engine going.
Yeah, not only have there not been a lot of things printed to stop this, they keep printing things that are really good with ETBs. This is not even discussing like things that allow you to abuse ETBs.
Oh, they love doubling those triggers.
Exactly.
Like there's at least 2 cards in every set. Right now, like
reanimation spells instantly just make ETBs better. Flicker spells make ETBs better. All of a sudden, we're getting cards like Saw in Half, which is just a disgustingly busted card with creatures with ETBs.
Attracts them.
Yeah, it tracks 100%. Displacer kitten. We're seeing
Yeah.
just like this huge push in this direction. And maybe you're right. Maybe that is the fact that it kind of sidesteps a lot of blue interaction and it kind of gives creatures a reason to still compete at the higher level.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think there is, if you're building at the highest level, that you have to think, okay, if I'm not in white, do I have space for the Torpor Orb? Like in your 99, like just in case if someone else's ETBs are going to be fucking going on.
Any of those
I need to be able
effects,
to get that.
It comes up in every game. It is
Yeah.
impactful. It's in.
Yeah, if you're looking for another stacks piece to like help against players who punish or who are abusing these effects, I love Containment Priest. Like Jordan, all those things Jordan had listed, like reanimation spells, Displacer Kitten, flicker effects, and stuff like that. Containment Priest solves that problem for you. So
It's true.
Yeah. So there
It
are a
doesn't
lot
stop
of
the initial, but it does definitely stops like the abuse of these kind of
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to throw
Emil.
the pieces together, like, and you got to make people dance through the raindrops with stacks. That's kind of what it is. You got to make it difficult.
Yeah.
Yep. And it has flash, so you can literally just like while it's on the stack, while they're
Right.
trying to get that effect to go off, you can just be like, and Containment Priest, deal with it. Otherwise,
It also
you
has a
lose
bit
your
more
piece.
versatility too, because there's a few different instances, like a Sisei activation or like a Eldritch Evolution kind of thing where that has added value.
Finale of Devastation. The Containment Priest will save your butt.
Yeah,
You know what I was just thinking about too? We've been talking about stacks and how it interacts with ETBs and stuff. None of the silence effects and most of the rule of law effects don't deal with creatures. Most of them are non-creature spells, like making ETBs even better, because the other way that you're going to try to like stop someone from going off and is going to be a silence effect.
A Ranger Captain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Ranger
or,
Captain. Yeah,
Which has an ETB effect, which makes it one of the strongest cards in CG.
Oh,
Ranger
God.
Captain's great.
Literally top 5, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I will die on that hill.
Yeah, it's only a couple spots below Dockside.
Yeah. In our top 5 cards, would you say that 3 of them are ETB effects?
What's the third one? Thassa's.
Thassa's Oracle?
Yeah.
Just for being the leanest win condition of all time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably say so.
Okay.
There you go. So maybe consider playing ETB hate if our top 3 has
I would
ETBs.
say one of those other 2 cards is probably a Mana Crypt or something like that. We could probably suss out our top 5, but whatever.
Actually, I sent you guys
Yeah, there you go.
a new website that I should pull up now while I am vamping.
Yeah, that's
and,
a great
and filling this time.
100% time that needed to be filled.
Yeah, shit.
I can
okay,
fill
but
time.
I'm definitely saying words.
You
and they
are?
on, and so this
And they're
person's-
continuous.
This person's name.
I can Solitude for
okay,
a while.
it is cedh-analytics.com/metagame. And this Reddit user's name is Coco Cove. And they have broken down tournament results in a different way than EDH Top 16 does, which we're familiar with, to actually break down the cards played in the current metagame, and you can view stats for specific commanders and stats for specific cards.
Very
so it's a
cool.
little more granular, and I think I haven't really gotten into it with this. I don't know if
I'm
you guys
about
had
to.
a chance to.
No, I'm about to dive into this.
But
though.
I think if it delivers on that promise, it's another tool that where it's just like you're looking at EDH Top 16 as your number 1 resource, and this might be number 2 along with Scryfall.
Yeah.
Did you have the name of the person that made this, or just the person?
Coco Cove, COCOCOV on Reddit.
I mean, shout
Nice.
out because this is a crazy tool. Just looking at the home
Free
page.
tool.
Yeah,
Now,
go check this out. This
You
is
sent us
awesome.
this link already, and
I did.
via text message. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I didn't put it in the Discord. So,
I will- yeah,
By
I'll
the
make
time
sure
this
this
episode
gets-
posts, it'll be in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll make sure this
Yeah.
gets in the description too.
I mean, this is great to see because as we are diving into more analytics for our show, I am
that's our
looking
main
at
topic,
these.
by the way.
Exactly, I am looking at these for other formats. So it's very cool to see this because it's very like representative of like the other like websites that I'm used to looking at for different formats. We've never had this though for CEDH, so that's very, very, very cool. I love to see that. Shout out. Okay, let's move on. Today we are doing an episode on a topic that we'll probably circle back to a few times here, and that is the CDH Player's Guide to Other Formats. Today, we are specifically talking about Standard and its resurgence in paper. There has been a ton of talk and a ton of push to bring paper or Standard back to paper, back to IRL, right? It kind of died during the pandemic, had a really hard time holding up, like everything did, obviously. So everything went on to Arena, where Standard has just been relegated to essentially.
Thriving.
Yeah, sure.
Thriving as an online format, but not in a paper format.
Not as it should,
Yeah.
not thriving as it used to in its old former glory, right? Even we saw like a huge fall off in like Magic competitions, like the Pro League, all of that fell apart as well. and really hasn't come back even still to this day.
I mean, we saw the biggest goof in Magic history where they literally lost trademarking for FNM. Like, Friday Night Magic does not exist anymore. It used to be a standard haven.
True, 100%. So yeah, so I think it's shifting ground right now, but I think, people are trying to find a home for standard and trying to bring it back and, bring it back to the real world.
Wizards themselves is the source of this push. And we saw this at MagicCon Vegas. Like, that was the big, kickoff for it.
Yeah, tons of you were playing it.
Yeah.
We had CGB playing in person. He's an arena guy, but we had people, actually playing paper decks. Obviously, there was the grand finals there that we got to watch in person, and that was all standard. And we're going to go into some of those analytics. This all really kicked off, though, a few months ago when Wizards of the Coast announced that they were making a lot of changes to the standard rotation. They said that they're going to be pushing it to a 2-year rotation versus a 1-year rotation.
And so just big picture, if I could interrupt, as a longtime Magic player, this is something that has been going on since formats have been around. You started with Type 1, Type 1.5, and Type 2, and just eventually you get into the creation of Modern and Standard and stuff like that. But with Standard, they have continuously been changing the cycle, how it works. It used to be based off hey, there would be 2 big blocks and then a small block,
right? But no more blocks
cycle.
anymore.
And then they got rid of the block structure, and then it was based on what's the longest period of time it's ever been? 2 years.
I think.
Actually, don't know.
Yeah, I think I was going to ask and see, is it 2 years to 3 years, or is it more? Because I know it's more than a year generally for the window of time that card is active.
But it has a big effect on the metagame.
Yes.
Talking about what is the base of cards that is playable, and being played, and for a rotating format, that's important because Magic is a game of your wallet.
Exactly.
Sometimes,
yeah.
And if you need 4 of Shoalrids and they're $100 a piece for the cheapest version. And if you're in Standard right now, you kind of do need 4 Shoalrids. Maybe you can get away with 3, but you probably need 4. That's $400 right there,
Yeah.
And if you're talking about that as a baseline before you get into other cards in your deck, which are also going to be good and expensive, because Standard does have cards that pop into that high end range, like Needhulk Massacre, and hang out there for a while. It can get real expensive, and it feels bad to be spending a modern deck amount of money in a rotating format.
Yeah, I think that was maybe a large part of that push was to kind of get people a little more security in investing in these kind of decks and not just be it's gone in a year.
Yeah.
Good luck.
So in Standard, if you can play Arena basically free to play, great. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's what helps it flourish as an online format. It's because you don't have the feel bad of cards that rotate out of Standard and then they're not playable in any other format because they're not quite pushed enough for
Totally. Yeah, they don't transfer after. And I do have an answer, by the way, for the Standard rotation. So it is up to 12 expansions are going to be legal in a Standard set, which will essentially keep it legal from between 2 to 3 years, depending.
Okay. Woo! That's a huge range, and
it is a huge range. Yeah,
and that to me feels good.
There's a lot of deck diversity.
Yeah.
Deck diversity. There were times, the most recent time where I was deep in Standard was at the beginning of COVID, so 2020 or whatever, and it was real stale. It was that Omnith stuff. It was a lot of adventure-based decks with Explore the Wilds and stuff like that.
Lotus Cobra was
all over the place, and
busted.
it just gets in that if the time span is short enough, there are cards that just come out and just dominate for the entire life cycle of that card, and it becomes stale, like you're saying.
Well, yeah, there are a lot of cards that maintain value through the years based on how dominant they were in Standard. And now I think a good example is Meathook Massacre, right?
Yeah.
Because it climbed all the way up to $70 or $80 for a single Standard print card, and then now we saw it actually sort of falling back down. It
got a couple of reprints that
and it's starting to see less play in Standard.
Did I just make that up? Did it get any reprints? I'm sorry.
It got reprinted in the list, so
Okay.
people are able
go.
to get their hands on a couple more out there. They're not prevalent. It's not a meaningful
I
reprint.
wish I held on to that black and white foil.
Yeah, Jordan had the
Idiot.
the Midnight Hunt,
Yeah, but no one opened a lot of that set in paper.
the double feature foil.
Yeah.
So-
yeah.
Yeah, the
Regrets.
Standard decks have always been an enigma to me outside or after Arena was introduced.
Have you
because,
played any Standard? Weren't you playing Historic when you were on Arena?
I play Historic now, but
Yeah.
I used to play Standard before the pandemic.
Okay.
I go to Friday Night Magic probably once a month, maybe.
Okay.
Just take a deck that was off meta and just like go around and play and meet new people.
Yeah.
After the pandemic hit, like there's no reason to. Everyone got hooked on Arena, and the investment is so much lower.
And
right?
nobody has paper decks anymore.
Yeah.
You can't even find games.
Jordan,
And-
did you ever play in a paper format
No.
for Standard? No.
Never did.
Okay.
Nope.
Yeah, so a lot of the approach to the game has changed for Standard because a lot of the cards that are effective on Arena you can build a deck that is full of commons and uncommons. You have a ton of those wild cards. I know you do. And like mono red can literally just stomp your way up the ladder, and then to a certain point it will become less effective, and then you've already earned your rare and mythic wild cards. You can build a more effective deck, and if you're competitive, that is a reasonable approach to it because you spend little to nothing to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But
whereas Friday Night Magic and paper, you might have gotten some packs or $15 in store credit.
yeah, there was some time like that I literally built a deck the day before, spent $150 cash to make that happen. Right, and then I played the deck one time there, didn't like it, and I just said sayonara and moved on.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't feel good, so I can see how Arena might.
So you had
a little bit better.
Japanese farewell that you played, and
No,
Okay.
no.
okay,
So I will say, I think the thing I do like about Standard is as far as competitive 1v1, I think there's the most creative deck building I see in it, like outside of like Modern, or that I don't see that in Modern. I do see it in Standard.
you get to forget about the politics atmosphere of Commander and just focus on smashing face, which as a Grixis player, that is on your mind, right?
Dreamy. Yes, exactly. But I also do think that there are reasonably low-cost ways to get into this format, and which is a very good thing about it. Like Evan said, mono red is always viable at the table, to an extent, obviously, as well as like blue-white soldiers. Super fucking annoying, but it's a deck that puts up results and doesn't cost a lot to put together.
You can, with your commons and uncommons, put together a blue tempo deck that will do decent.
I mean, yeah, my deck that I took to Mythic on ladder was Haughty Jin, and I literally could put it together in paper for, I would say, $50, which today in Magic you really can't say that about anything.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
No, my favorite era of Standard was Return to Ravnica block, and I played mono black pack rats. And I feel like you can always build a pretty good mono black deck. I mean, especially right now with Sheoldred.
Exactly.
But in Standard, you can always build a pretty good mono black deck with some control pieces and some uncommon creatures.
Oh, 100%.
And you're off to the races.
A lot of the time, it's just making the right play at the right time and standing over Jordan's shoulder as he climbed to Mythic. It was just, I think Arena allows you to jam games, and eventually you pick up the patterns of what people are playing because at a certain point, you rise to, almost Mythic. Like you were in Diamond. Is that Diamond then Mythic? Or something, whatever.
Yeah.
But you were seeing like certain decks, and you were just like, well, I know I have to wait for this to happen, and then once I make that play, like hold on to this interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Where like I had no idea, like you had already figured out the sequencing for a lot of these decks you were playing against.
Right, and that was a point I wanted to bring up. Is like I think that is a benefit for people to get into this format. Is it's not crazy intimidating because the card pool is relatively small.
Yeah.
Like even with the extended card pool that we're looking at now, it is relatively small, and you do see a finite number of decks. You get to learn these strategies, right? Like it's like mono red aggro, especially on ladder, you see a ton of them. It's like mono red aggro, blue white soldiers, green white Selesnya enchantments, and like that's pretty much it.
Yeah, Jukai Naturalist will be around for a while.
Oh my God, it makes me want to kill myself.
And I mean, the other aspect of that too is like if you're a person who learns something by jamming games, great. I can jam a hell of a lot of Standard games any time of the day on Arena.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I got a lot better of like understanding tempo plays and stuff like that by playing that deck.
By the way, if you do play at all hours of the day on Arena, just learn different time zones and like when like South Koreans are awake and like when like Brazilians are awake and other big like Magic populations and stuff.
That's when you should be sleeping.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
those are
'cause-
esports cultures.
Yeah, because they're esports cultures, and like there are so many times where I would just be like up at 2 a.m. and I'll be like, everyone's asleep. I'll just go on and maybe grind some games and just get my face smashed in by.
Oh yeah, over winter break, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. All right, well, let's move this into a little more like grounded in reality with some data, some stats behind us, right? We are talking about Arena currently, so I have currently pulled up the May through October metagame. So this is pretty much every deck that we are looking at through Arena. Currently, the most represented is Domain Ramp. Domain deck still coming in strong. It is relatively easy deck to pilot and to put together. It's pretty cheap. We have an 11% representation with a 56.5% global win rate, which pretty much anything above 50 is good. Anything below 50, you need to work on. So 56.5 is a strong standing, and I see why a lot of people play it. Moving on to the second is one we see all the time and talking about is mono red aggro. It has 10.3% metagame representation, but 42% win rate. It is not a strong deck on winning.
Is this is best of one, or is it?
This is all best
three?
of one. This is all
best of one.
Oh yeah, mono red aggro is gonna.
Yeah,
That's what it's gonna do.
Swift Spear, Chick, Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, it's just not positioned well right now, and it used to be significantly better. But it's because what we're about to talk about moving into it next is Dimir mid range, followed by Mono Black mid range, followed by Esper Control. It is essentially all the same deck splashing some colors. We are seeing that with the printing of Sholdred and some extremely strong black cards, that black mid range is just very good right now.
Yeah.
In addition, I think Esper is king. We had a huge banning recently and really kind of like took Grixis down a peg. We lost the Fable the Mirror Breaker.
Oh, yeah.
And we also lost Corpse Appraiser, which on its face is not a crazy card, but it was a machine in the Grixis deck that just let it win every single game.
I was going to say, it definitely nuked that deck.
It was almost like that card is not ban worthy on the surface until you realize you are coming for the deck.
Yeah, I mean, there's some thinking that goes into the ban list for standard and modern and formats that aren't commander. Like you got to think about it. There's a little more math involved, I guess. So things like that will happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Fable makes sense. Fable was just in it made every deck viable. Like red was in every.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
But now you're seeing like there's very little red showing up, especially when you're looking at win rates and like success there. Because let's switch over here. We were just in Vegas, and while they were there, they were doing the Magic World Championships for standard. And it was really interesting when I started looking at the top placements, right? We don't have any red until 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Definitely not in the top 8.
18th, we have a splash of red in 4 color.
The opposite of Commander.
Then Rakdos is 19th. Then Grixis midrange doesn't exist until 20th.
It's absolutely insane that the 18th deck is called Rakdos Reanimator, and it's 4 colors.
Yeah.
And then 19th is Rakdos, what's that say?
Sacrifice.
So,
And then Grixis midrange.
Well, here's the thing. The reason that you see so much red in Commander is because of Dockside. Like we were saying. Like it's literally because of Dockside. That is the reason you're going to be playing red.
Well, there were other cards recently that made it prevalent in Standard, but they are all gone now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because of that, it has let Esper just run supreme. Esper Legends is what won this tournament.
Yep.
And followed by Esper midrange.
I mean, because you got to go through either Sholdred or Atraxa in Standard right now. So, and that they have the gravity,
Yeah, they just win games, and it's very apparent right here. Pretty much every deck is blue or black, white, splashing blue or green or both.
Mm-hmm.
All the way through.
Yeah, it's mostly Shieldred. Like, and when you go and you look up on Card Kingdom or TCG Player, however you want to do it, and you look at the price of Shieldred, it's reflecting as such, not because of Commander, but because of these competitive formats. Shieldred is impactful across, like, not only Standard, but Pioneer, if you are playing it, and some decks in Modern. So,
what's that Mint 9 Phyrexian foil I'm looking at worth?
oh my God.
It's... Actually, I don't know. Do you want me to look it up real quick?
Yeah, sure. You own it.
I do own it.
I totally forgot you own that. It's such a cool piece.
Yeah, I have it.
But anyway, the cheapest Sholdred you're going to get is $100.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, maybe if you're lucky, you can find one from your buddy. Tell him you'll give him $70 or $80 cash. You know, but it's powerful. It's so powerful that it just pushes other colors out of competition. So,
well, I mean, in a one-on-one format, you're not going to gain advantage at the fringes or anything. So you you should just be doing the best thing.
Yeah, like Make Disappear is like the addition of blue to black, like basically allows this mirror match to happen in Standard where you're answering people's Shieldreds with Make Disappears and having fodder for those to potentially casualty. You pay the casualty cost. So I've just watched too many games where Shieldred will come down when the player has 6 life, and they will turn the entire game around. They'll just gotten beaten down.
It's a huge swing.
Yep.
It's a 4-life swing every time something happens, right?
Yep. And then when you can build a deck around drawing cards, like this Esper Control build with, what's the card from New Capenna? The Esper card.
You're talking Rafine?
Yeah, Rafine.
Yeah, so we're looking at
God,
Esper
yeah.
Legends. This is the deck that won. It pretty much is Lord Skitter into Rafine with Shouldred and Urtai.
Urtai Resurrected.
God,
which is
that's
a-
Urtai yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And it's just, you got 4 Skrelvs, 4 Denix, 3 Fairy Mastermind, 2 Ronas, 4 Thalias. Like, it literally is just a disgusting deck, and it just wins. Like, you can put this together on Standard, or on Arena rather, and climb easily. This deck will 100% compete at Mythic.
Yeah, I mean, the deck that I was looking at was Anthony Lee's Golgari mid-range deck, which was number 3 at the World Championship. And that is also a lot of the same vibes. Like, it's playing like Nissa, Liliana the Veil, Glissa Sunslayer, Shouldred, and then things that round that out, you know?
Yo, I didn't even see this, but we called this card out when we were going through it, and here he is playing 4 of Mosswood Dread Knight. This card is gas.
No, I'm going to have to send you guys this list. I rebuild it a little bit, and I'm going to try it out on Arena. But, like, yeah, no, it's great. Like, Mosswood Dread Knight, great card. Bramble Familiar and Blossoming Tortoise also, like, have the ability to shine in this deck.
Oh, 100%.
Blossoming Tortoise working with the Restless Cottage to give you a 4/4 black and green horror on the battlefield. I think it's great. It's a good deck.
That's why I think I'm excited about Standard, because there's a lot of fun stuff right now available in the format that is viable.
Yeah.
So I think, like, I mean, obviously Shouldred is oppressively strong right now. But I think there's still a lot of fun to be had.
Yeah, I would say in the World Championship top 8, there were 4 distinct decks.
Yeah.
Even if they were in the same color combinations. 4 different decks, you know.
Yeah, I think the addition from this last set, Wilds of Eldraine with the cottage and stuff like that, is just another, like, unique drop in the bucket for Standard to, like, have those. I remember Standard way back when those what are their
Crawling Barons.
Yeah, Crawling Barons, stuff like that, where those, like, you just pay a certain amount of mana and activate it and it becomes a creature. Like, we saw it with Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, with Den of the Bugbear and whatnot.
Celestial Colonnade ran Standard for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. And now they're back in well, maybe not as powerful as Celestial Colonnade.
Well, they used to be
They're pretty good.
they are good.
I would say maybe 5 years ago, you would commonly see the on-color duels that were manlands, right?
Mainlands, yeah.
Yeah, the on-color manlands in whatever deck you were playing, and they just got powered out of Modern. So it's exciting to see them back, you know.
With better costing than the last
Yeah,
time
with
they
better
printed them.
costing and in a format where they're playable.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
No, I think, and especially let alone that, but a mid-range format is where they thrive.
Oh my god! In Standard, I played mono black with Ugin at the top end.
Yes.
And Crawling Barons was an important part of that strategy. Like, you know, that Crawling Barons would just close out.
Yeah, 100%.
time,
A lot of times that's what wins games. Is like, you know, you get to turn 6 or 7, everybody's gassed out of resources, but you have enough mana to keep activating and making your land a creature, and that's enough. Yeah, I think that's super duper cool. So I wanted to just kind of end us off here because got to wrap up. What kind of decks might you be interested in playing? Like, I think we're all interested in maybe looking at Standard. I think it's worth having one on hand so that I've been seeing a lot of events popping up. Mox is starting to run some Standard events. I know Phoenix is looking at doing some, so I want to see about having one on hand. Yeah,
I think for me, the excitement comes with the next set. And when we were at MagicCon, they spoiled a lot of new cards with Caverns of Ixalan.
Yes, next Standard legal set.
Yeah, so I was really excited to see that, and I think this is what's, like, bringing more players back into this, like, paper Magic realm, but they're starting to make more powerful reprints. Cavern of Souls is coming back to Standard. So I love dinosaurs. So I'm going to build a dinosaur deck.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Standard.
That makes sense.
And we're going to see exactly what that does when that happens. I'm excited for spoilers, but that is making me more excited for Standard, is actually, like, seeing powerful cards like Cavern of Souls re-enter the fray.
Hell yeah. No, I already named mine. I'm looking at Golgari mid-range, I think. And for me, I love Liliana the Veil.
Yes.
When I was away from Magic for the first time and I came back, I opened a pack of Innistrad. It was the first pack I bought in like 15 years or something. And my rare was Liliana the Veil. I didn't even know what Planeswalkers were. And I was just like, what is this?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's clean.
And, at that time, I could play her in Standard. After that, I could play her in Modern. She's now kind of powered out of Modern. So I am excited to have a deck where I get to play 4 of Liliana the Veil again.
Dude, I mean, that is
yeah.
awesome. That feels really good because that is a really good card.
Wizards print Pack Rat back into Standard, and
Run it
I will
back.
be living my dreams.
Full run back,
Yeah.
dude. I mean, I'm gonna keep being a dead horse, man. I gotta keep playing this Haughty Jin deck until Dominaria United rotates out.
You haven't found a way to do Grixis bullshit in Standard?
I mean, Grixis bullshit definitely exists.
Okay.
It's just, I mean, honestly, it feels lame now that Fable's banned. Like, if we were nothing had changed, I would totally build.
There's not any must-play red cards in Standard.
Yeah. There's nothing pulling me in that direction. Honestly, like Mosswood Dread Knight is one of the coolest Standard legal cards I've seen in a while. So, like, I'm leaning more your direction than my direction. Honestly.
Yeah, that with Shieldred is kind of like a really cool combination
Yes,
where
dude.
you can
Yeah.
activate or you can cast the adventure and you actually net life off of the whole thing by drawing a card.
Yeah, I know we've heard about the concept of no bad card decks in CDH, but
Oh, they definitely exist here.
they exist in Standard
Oh,
too.
100%.
No bad cards.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's pretty much what won this last championship was a no bad cards list. I mean, even looking at it, like Fairy Mastermind gets so goated with Shouldred because now all of a sudden you're paying for they're losing 2 life on that and you're drawing a card. So you're finding a way to punish them for that
And
actual card.
so if you have those 2 cards together, you're probably in just a baseline Dimir deck, maybe an Esper deck. And
Exactly.
it's real easy to establish that control position. And then what Dimir has problems with in Standard a lot of the times is being able to close out.
I really think what it comes down to, or maybe not exactly what it comes down to, but Red just has a hard time with removal right now. Like Bolt doesn't exist anymore. So Black
Also, Bolt's maybe not good enough because
Also,
if
Bolt
you
may not
look at the
be-
targets for it, the bodies are just too
They're-
chunky. They've
so
got
the
big
fact
butts.
that we're not willing to reprint it into Standard, but at the same time it's not even good enough to be in Standard is crazy because now you're looking at White and you're looking at Black and you're seeing just the most ludicrous level of removal is coming out. Like we have Wandering Emperor is just a crazy
Great card, yeah.
We have Ossification. I know we're seeing a ton in the Selesnya decks.
Yep.
Tie
Tie down.
down. What is the white
Cut down, sorry.
Oh, cut down. Yeah. And then there's the white Kamigawa removal card.
Oh, the Wandering Emperor or what?
No, the other one, the enchantment thing, the flicker thing.
Oh, Touch the Spirit Realm?
Touch the Spirit Realm.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's-
Also in Black, you have Go for the Throat is legal right now, which hits
100%.
every target. in
Not to mention
Standard.
in Black, we just had the printing of Shouldred's Edict, which is
Great
a
card. Yep.
disgusting card.
Yeah, I mean, you see that showing up in CDH list.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it has flexibility. Like, it's so good. And then we also have, like, removal being stuck onto Urtai and stuff like that. So, really, it's just the removal that it comes down to is just, it's just the best in those 3 colors.
Yeah.
And I would
Yeah.
expect this format to get a little bit more degenerate with Cavernous Souls because most people will be naming Praetor and they will be protecting their Shieldreds as it comes down.
Yeah, I mean, that does scare me because I'm the mono blue player that just really heavily relies on make disappear.
Yeah, and the potential to have 4. It's not a legendary land either, is it?
Well, yeah, but you're punished on colors
not,
and stuff
yeah.
like that. So
I mean,
Well, you get one of any color as long as you name the right creature type. Or
yeah, what
fair,
other
fair.
creature types does Shouldred have? Can you be Phyrexian Praetor? You could probably name Phyrexians.
yeah, you probably and build a deck around that. And yeah, I don't think you'd really. suffer that much.
Realm Breaker. Or what is that? What is the one
Oh.
from March of the Machines where it is Realm Breaker of the World Tree of something where you can search your library for Praetors?
Put them all out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
World
think-
Breakers?
yeah.
You could see like a more grindy control list with like Phyrexian Sensor.
Oh, yes,
like that.
Phyrexian Sensor. Yeah.
But overall, really excited to see where the format heads and how they keep drawing people in to the paper format again. Obviously, Arena is thriving. People are very excited. If you haven't seen Covert Go Blue or any of his content, get out there because he plays a lot of variety. He has a new video almost like daily or every other day.
Yeah, if you want to
Or
get
it's
some
a new
inspo
deck.
for Standard, definitely a good place to check for sure. That's where I think Evan and I got a lot of inspo when we were starting
I would-
getting into Arena.
Like, I would love to play that new Infinite Mana Agatha's Cauldron loop deck.
Yeah, there's even new combos coming out with like all the new gas that we've got.
Should we proxy up the standard decks and just have them play? Do some gameplay videos, maybe?
Yeah, maybe run some
one-on-ones.
Yeah, sounds great.
One-on-one.
Yeah, easy piece for you guys to run one-on-ones.
That's true. Maybe we'll even Twitch stream them.
Oh, hell yeah.
Head-to-head action. You'd love to see it.
All right, y'all. Well, this has been the Moxstars Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Obviously, this has been the best one because it was run by yours truly, Jordan Garcia. I am a Moxstar.
Yeah, we'll be doing more statistics-driven episodes in the future. If you guys like this type of content, make sure to let us know in the comments below. And again, if you'd like to support the show, please do so by subscribing to us on YouTube, leaving 5 stars on all major podcasting platforms, and join the Discord. You can interact with us on the regular and just proc some of these conversations that we're having.
I mean, yeah, we almost derailed the entire conversation with Tortoise one little thought. So.
I mean, it was a fruitful conversation.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
I'm not dissing it. I think, like, yeah, if you want us to, go off the rails and talk about something you want to talk about, get involved in the Shower Thoughts.
Yep, and you can do that by joining our supporter tier on Patreon. For $3 a month, you become an official Pepperhead, where your name turns Dr. Pepper red, and you get access to the Shower Thoughts channel, where you can be a little bit closer to your 3 favorite, best Magic the Gathering personalities, the Moxstars.
You get to shower with us.
Yes.
Not literally. We're working
That
on
is the next Patreon
We're working
tier.
on that Patreon tier.
Yeah.
But
like, are we talking 1 per or all 3 at once?
no, all 3 of us, yeah.
Okay, that's a very expensive Patreon tier.
It
It's
is.
a big shower.
Yeah. Well, I think we mentioned the Piss Pig tier. I think that would be...
What a solid way to end it.
On that note,
Turn it up there. Thanks for listening, y'all. We'll see y'all next
Bye.
week.
Bye.